Hello, friends. Welcome once again. This is Derek Angels, and there is something, a buzz called National Education Policy. I've been getting a lot of calls from teachers and parents, and some education reformers and the educational institute management members as well. And to have some kind of clarity, yes, at this point of time, there is a lot of question marks in everybody's mind. What next? What's going to happen? So I'm going to do an analysis of all the points available to me, and I will present it to you in a video format from the 6th of August 2020. So watch out, look out for my videos on the National Education Policy starting from the 6th of August 2020. See you again. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, and welcome once again to the Step Up page. So, I have with me, I think, familiar faces to those who have been watching the Step Up page. And today we also have a special guest, Radha. So, on the screen is Radha, and Radha is also an educationist. She has been, a very passionate professional teacher, educator, and she's worked across private and international schools. She's trained in ECC, ED, and she holds a double master's in commerce and education. She's engaged with students and teachers across, nationalities, and the last 10 years of her career have been spent in the IGSC, in the IGCSE and IB curriculum. So she's bringing a lot of experience to this forum. Dr. Manoj, I think many of us already know him, and he's like one of our famous panelists. And Dr. Manoj is an astrophysicist. I always have to, wait before I say that because I think of astronomer, I think of astrologer, and then I come back to astrophysicist. So, uh, Manoj is very active in the field of education also in terms of teaching teachers in terms of the higher level education for physics and the areas of astrophysics and related subjects which go with the stars and planets. I really don't know all the stuff, but trying to be brief here. So he'll give us his perspective. I have Neeta ma'am again, wonderful reputation as a teacher. She's working with the standard Indian education system, and she has a great fan following. She's worked over 25 years as a teacher, and last, I think, 10 years as a supervisor. So bringing all these people across. Later on, we'll also have, Dr. Derek coming in, and he is also active with education, active with children, discussing policies with the state governments, etc. So let's see how this session goes. Okay, just to open up, and I'm going to throw this first question to Radha. Okay, Radha, when you saw this policy, what happened? What did you think about? What were your thoughts?
All right. Let me just give you short background of where I come from. Okay, I studied in the national boards. Okay, so I'm a product of the national boards, and even my B.Ed and M.Ed, I have done it in the Bombay University. And then for me to transition to the international curriculum and understanding their pedagogy and all, there was a lot of unlearning I had to do as a teacher, and that took quite some time. So when I looked at this document, the first thing I acknowledged and I was happy about is there's something that's happening. Okay, there is. The government has woken up to the fact that education is where it's right at the core of a lot of other issues that we face as a country, and also if we have to be globally if we have to be shining, and if we our children, our future generations, if they have to be performing well in a global scenario, okay, the education system has to go through a lot of changes. Um, so what I liked about the whole thing is that they have acknowledged the fact, they have taken multiple challenges, okay, that that come up with the whole system. So they have addressed a lot of issues in this on paper, which looks good, which means they have considered all of these things. So whether it's inclusion or gender, how the male female, how education goes in that space. They also looked at the different socio-economic groups, rural India, urban India. They have looked at a lot of things, right? So I look at it as a very, very positive move. It is on paper, okay. I would not want to be highly critical or skeptical. It's time that we as a country, you know, get ready, and it's not just a few of us who are benefiting from the opportunities that's coming from across the globe. I think that everybody has to be benefiting. We should be moving towards that. Yeah.
Thanks, Radha, for that. And what you said, and I will pick on that, it's on paper. Manoj, आपका क्या कहना है?
Well, I'll concur with Radha in the sense that a lot of issues which had perhaps not been addressed before are at least mentioned in paper. Okay, now the main how do you go about implementing it? For example, the first thing that I would like to mention is that the breaking down of barriers of these streams of subjects, which are actually in a sense artificial in nature, and it kind of creates a class distinction among the students also when it comes to the maths background, science background, or commerce background, or arts and humanities background. Okay, it was a very unequal system, and it also created barriers for students. For example, I would have loved to continue more with, say, some language along with science, but which I couldn't. Okay, now if this document, this has addressed this particular issue, then I'll say definitely it's a very positive step. Now how to go about implementing it is my area of concern, because there are things which are mentioned very well in this document, but the mention is not very concrete. I'll say it's more of fluffy in nature, and maybe there are contradictions. For example, the document mentions that the examination should become less stressful for the students, and a lot of words are used how the examination process should change. Okay, but it doesn't mention how is a student going to get admitted to the next level. Say a student leaving school at class 10th or class 12th and goes for the next level, what will be the criteria of admission? And that is the crucial aspect which causes all the tension, all the stress, because in our society, we have kept the resources limited, and only a small fraction get the chance to continue with the education. So there, if I say, okay, don't pay much stress to examination, but then the question comes, what to do next, how to go about it. So that is where the concern lies, and that is where we have to see how we kind of implement all these good ideas which are mentioned in the paper.
Thanks, Manoj. Already getting questions and comments on the in the comment section. मीरा मैम, आप बताइए, आपको जब ये मैसेज इन्फॉर्मेशन आया तो आई एम श्योर एक जो बात है, आई थिंक इट वाज वेरी अनएक्सपेक्टेड, राइट? At least I wasn't aware that this bomb was coming. A good kind of a thing, sorry, but I wasn't aware. What, any of you aware about this?
Yeah,
Because I think
actually,
it came. हाँ बोलिए.
please continue.
नहीं, आप बोलिए, मैं आपसे
Actually,
पूछूं.
we teachers know about this thing that this is coming up for the next generation, but what the thing is that actual जो framework है वो नहीं था, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, व्हाट वी सेड कि डॉक्यूमेंटेशन नहीं हुआ था. बट वी वर अवेयर दैट कि लाइक चेंजेस आर गोइंग for this education system, and for that we are going to take training and all that. Actually, as a teacher to secondary level, मैं उसे थोड़ा ऑप्टिमिस्टिकली लेती हूँ कि आई थिंक मेरे बच्चों को अच्छा रहेगा, क्योंकि जो बेसिक उन्होंने जो गवर्नमेंट ने मतलब ये जो पॉलिसी डिसाइड किया है वो अर्ली चाइल्डहुड को ज़्यादा इम्फेसाइज किया है. मतलब उन लोगों को अपने ग्लोबली, एज राधा मैम सेड, ग्लोबली ये बच्चे को उन वो जो स्ट्रीम है ग्लोबली एजुकेशन स्ट्रीम, उसके साथ लेने के लिए ये इम्प्लीमेंट कर रही है गवर्नमेंट. सो वी आर ट्राइंग अवर बेस्ट कि हम लोग बच्चों को ट्रेन करके बच्चों को जो हमारे अभी एसएससी लेवल में है, मतलब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का जो पॉलिसी है वहां से थोड़ा बियॉन्ड जाके बच्चे को ग्लोबल लेवल पे ले जा सके. इसलिए हमें ये लोग ये जो फ्रेमवर्क है वो हमें पुशअप कर रहा है, मतलब शायद हमें सपोर्ट करेगा. इसलिए वी आर ऑप्टिमिस्टिक एंड वी हैव वेरी होप्स फॉर दिस फ्रेमवर्क कि हमारे बच्चे भी अभी जो अभी नया क्राइटेरिया है, एडवांस लेवल है, ग्लोबल एजुकेशन है, ये जो सब है वो सब में हमारे बच्चे भी वो स्ट्रीम में जा सके, ऐसा हम सोच रहे हैं. बट एज सर सेड, मनोज सर, की ये सब दिख रहा है डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के टाइम जब भी टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम आएगा, मतलब जो भी इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने जाएंगे तभी क्या क्या इश्यू आएंगे, दैट वी कांट से फ्रॉम नाउ.
Exactly. So it is something difficult. Rather, tell me anything that struck you as an educationist, okay? Anything that struck you about this document that you want to talk about? I'll leave the question open. So just, raise your hands when you want to add a point or whatever.
Okay. So one thing that I really try to look for is how much is it aligned to the standards and practices that we have in the IB and the IGCSE. That's IB and the CAI curriculum. Okay. So it was really heartening to see that they have in their objectives, in the vision. Okay. They have spoken about get global citizenship, and they have laid a lot of emphasis to skill building, okay, which is extremely important, and there's a huge gap over there. And they've also mentioned about 21st century skills. So the fact that these things have been acknowledged is very encouraging. Also, the other things that I noticed was they've spoken about multidisciplinary approach, which is also very much a part of the IB curriculum. But it comes in at a much later stage. That's what is mentioned in the document. It's coming in after 9th standard, right? And a lot of emphasis is laid on EC, the lower grades. That is the first group, okay, the pre-primary and 1 and 2. Again, that I think that should be a lot of things, and that should be carried forward. Okay, so whether it's activity-based learning, you can't really separate activity-based learning and experiential learning. So somewhere I found that these strategies or the approaches that they're speaking about is a little dispersed, and it's not vertically aligned. That's something that I noticed. One good thing that I noticed was that, the progress. So they are talking about values, and they are also talking about self-assessment, and they're talking about self-identity as one of the basic components in the the lower section. That's the first section, right? So these are things that can be taken forward in the higher grades also. So I feel a lot of things that's included in the first section should be included in the other sections also. That's one thing. And also the good point is, they are introducing AI and design thinking, holistic health, organic living. This is need of the hour. Right now, how soon the curriculum, I think, is going to be changing in 2 years' time. So these things, again, we are kind of aligning to what is required globally and what is the core expertise of the Indians. How are we serving the world? And even the exams, they have these exams in grade 5, 3, 5 and 8. Okay, so that's again aligned to the IGCSE, where we are checking for skills and understanding. So I do see that there is an alignment, but a lot depends on how this will be delivered in schools in different parts of the country. Right, a school that is delivering this in Mumbai will be different from a two-tier city and a remote location. So to bring the uniformity, this is a lot of alignment I could see, and again, in the long run, it will work for us. Yes.
नीता मैम, आपको कुछ बोलना है? मनोज,
हाँ,
बोलिए नीता मैडम.
एक्चुअली मैम सेइंग कि ये जो पॉइंट्स दिए हैं ग्लोबल एंड वैल्यू इनकलकेशन एंड बच्चे लोग को स्किल बेस्ड अपना जो भी करिकुलम है, दे आर एम्फेसाइजिंग कि ये करिकुलर, को करिकुलर, एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर, ऐसे जो भी डिफ्रेंसिएशन है वो हम चेंज करना चाहते हैं. मतलब सब एक साथ कंबाइन करके उनको होलिस्टिक जो अप्रोच रहता है, मतलब उनका डेवलपमेंट रहता है, वो गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेक्ट कर रही है कि टीचर्स अपने आप को अपडेट करके बच्चे का भी जो डेवलपमेंट है वो भी होलिस्टिक चाहिए. कि बच्चा जब भी रियल वर्ल्ड में जाए, तभी अगर किसी भी जगह if he is not getting any job or something, then the skill what he had learned from that earlier stage, he can use that. So
what do you think? Overall positive दिख रहा है, बहुत positive दिख रहा है. नाता बोल रही है कि it is aligned to the IBs, and the other aspects.
Actually,
you're pretty optimistic about it. Okay. Yes, Manoj.
Well, as it happens, play the devil's advocate. So, but what I perceive is, that once we are moving away from the present examination system to a system, continuous assessment is being given more stress. And in the document, there are mentions of the difference between the formative and the summative assessment, which is real. Now, but in our country, in our setup, our teachers are not really trained to differentiate between the formative assessment and the summative assessment. Now, continuous assessment has a danger. It becomes a continuous series of examinations, which is a summative assessment, which actually happened few years back, when the first time the formative assessment was implemented by the CBSE schools, which they have changed after a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. Then what happened was all the formative assessments had become in reality, it was a summative assessment. So instead of having 3 exams, people had 9 exams in a year, and it increasing the stress. It increased the stress. Second issue with this continuous assessment is that when you're dealing with formative assessment and things, then the teacher to student ratio has to be controlled, because in the document has been mentioned that the aim is to reach for 1:30. Now that itself is a challenge for our country. In our country, the ratio to 40 to 150. Now, even if you go down to able to reach 1:30, which is a section of the document, even then I'll say formative assessment as a continuous assessment a challenge for the teacher, and it increases paperwork and clerical job. Okay. So if we want to implement the continuous assessment, we need to focus on the teacher-student ratio and try to bring it below 30 than what it is mentioned, and we ensure how to lay down the standards and implement them, and train the teacher in the difference in the aptitude and the focus on formative assessment and the summative assessment. That is extremely crucial. Otherwise, we run the risk of having a examination, one quiz today, quiz tomorrow, another subject quiz day after tomorrow, and the students get into the day, I don't know, मुझे पढ़ना है आज, ये पढ़ना है आज, वो करना है, वो quiz है कल, वो ये करना है. That thing is a risk. Okay, and we have to ensure that fall into that trap.
Thanks, Manoj. I appreciate that. We just got Derek online. He's going to be with us for a short while. Derek, I'm going to throw a question straight at you from the questions that we already have out here. So, I mean, of course, just throwing it to him, I'm putting it on the screen. We have a guest who's asking us, Vikram Pawar, is that those who are in the 11th or 12th standard, how do they get affected and how can they plan for their future? Derek, I want you to field this one, please.
All right, for those who are in 11th and 12th, how will they get affected? Okay, now let me tell you something, First of all, good evening, namaste, kem cho, salam alaikum, and wish you all a very happy Eid.
Yeah,
it's a
Eid
festive
Mubarak.
season, so let's feel happy about that first. Okay, now coming to what about the future? And my dear panel friends, good evening to all of you. I'm sorry I missed out that. My apologies. And moving ahead with the question. First of all, keep cool. The future is far, far away. Now, what has happened is there are only announcements. There's a beautiful gift called the NEP which has come to us. The gift is yet to be opened. And then what will come out of it is something like passing the parcel. It will pass on from one person to the other, and you'll go on opening it till at the end. On the 10th year, you will come to know what is there inside the parcel in reality. So coming to what has changed, I will definitely answer that 11th and 12th. I think I've almost answered that. What has changed? Nothing has changed so far. We are only talking about it. And everybody is talking about it. I hope you understand when I say everybody. Next, how it is going to impact us. Well, to have any kind of impact, we are nothing less than 3 to 5 years away from now. What needs to happen is, the least, there should be some kind of experimental procedure that should begin, which has, yet to begin, if at all there would be one in the first place. And we are short-staffed. I wouldn't say that. We have enough of teachers and educators across the country. What is missing out is the trainers, experienced trainers, learned trainers, not the certified trainers. We need experienced and learned trainers to train these teachers to gear up themselves to take on this huge challenge. It's more huge than a dragon or anything greater creature than that, I would say. And those who are in 11th and 12th, relax. You're far away, still very far away from getting any kind of impact. Now, another thing I would like to, my dear viewers, I'm sure you're there watching this, talk from all the panel members. Give me 30 seconds, okay? Give me 30 seconds of your life right now. And the title is NEP, National. Now, I want all the panel members and Glancy, please give me some time with the viewers, okay? So please, I would request to not to comment anything out here. This is for the viewers. National dash policy, okay? There's a word in between. I know that I cannot hear you, okay? But you can say it aloud to your own self, okay? I'm remaining silent for the next 5 seconds. Say that middle word aloud to yourself. Now, I believe most of us across the globe would say education, education. Glancy, would you just pronounce that word, please, for us? How is it actually
Education.
pronounced?
Yeah, education. That's right.
Education.
Education. Yes, yes,
Yeah, education. So
yes.
the and ja, you're getting the point. I have a reason for stressing here. I'm not teaching anybody anything out here. You may pronounce the way you want it. And also the meaning of education, education, as you say. It means receiving and giving information in a systematic way. Period. That's what it means. Now, the funny part is the people who talk big about this, making, all these policies, etc., etc., etc. I wonder if they've gone through the scratch level of when we put, those words right on top of it. I'm here just for a short while, just to tell you, my viewers, my dear friends, my dear parents, take it easy, relax, keep your stress level down, avoid anxiety. This will take time to, unfold, come out, and everybody is doing their best to, give out whatever is good for the people. And I've seen, as I went through the documents, whatever I could get hold of, I saw there was a lot of copy paste happened. It was copy pasted from a lot of places. And then I started wondering, oh my God, this is all a copy paste, and how do I analyze the copy paste? All right. So, my dear panel members, thank you so much for bearing with me. My dear viewers, thank you for your time, and have a lovely evening. Thank you. Catch up soon with you. Good night.
Thanks, Derek, for that brief but very to the point session. Thank you, and I'll say bye to you then.
Bye, 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 bye.
Okay, so we'll come back. Okay, and I'm getting a lot of noise from somewhere. I'm not really sure whether it's my session for me or.
There is disturbance, Clancy.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's a bit. Give me a moment. I'll just exit and come back. Maybe it's coming from my side. Give me a moment, please. Please continue talking. I'll be right back.
Okay, just to continue from where the question that was posed to Derek, I'll just mention that the timeline that is given in the document says that class 12th level exam will not be affected till 2025. So only students who are going to appear in class 12th in 2025, they need to think about the new policies, okay, the new way of education, not before that. And class 10 students, not before 2023. So people who are appearing class 10th in 2021 and 2022, they need not bother about it. And people who are appearing in class 12 till 2024, they also need not worry much about it, because their system will not really change. Okay, we are going to follow the same system. So students will be affected from 2025 onwards, as say, and people who are in junior classes, they will be reverting to the newer system slowly as it gets implemented. So having said that, again I'll come back to my point, which I had raised before, that is getting admission to the new level. I tell you, most of the problems of education is actually outside the domain of education, and it has got to do more with our socio-economic opportunities that we get after the education. And that is the reason why some subjects suffer, some don't suffer, as some are glorified, glamorized, and parents, maybe in our country more so, enforce their students, their kids into following a particular line of education simply because of the perceived notion of job opportunities or better opportunities in life that comes after education. Now, that is the actual cause of stress, if you ask me. We parents, I'm a parent also, I'm a teacher also, everything, okay? And I can tell you that as a parent, my stress is that, what will be the future of my kids? And that stress is transferred to the kids. And believe me, even if you don't talk about it, kids are very perceptive about the cues that they get from their peer group, which includes the parents, includes their friends, includes their cousins, and the whole environment. They get more cues from things which are unsaid than the things which are said. Okay, so first and foremost, we have to understand one thing, that the previous education policy happened in 86, okay, and there people codified certain way of education, whatever it was, all of us know what it was. And if you look at the situation that happened in post 86, then lot of things happened, changed, which actually caused the change in the education process that we are following now. Our economy opened up, and at the same time, this software industry and the outsourcing concept in the industry, that gave a boom. Okay, and we kind of modified the system that we had to create an education so that we can fill up that particular niche, and that is where the development has occurred. Now, what I feel is a kind of an advantage of this particular policy. Okay, before going to the disadvantages, my concerns, let me mention the advantage that I feel is that since we are breaking down the barriers between the streams, this perhaps will enable our kids to become suitable for jobs which will happen 10, 20, 30 years from now, because the workplace, the job market is going to change very, very much as artificial intelligence, AI, is taking over. The nature of the job is going to change. Earlier what we used to do, we used to learn and specialize one kind of work, and now perhaps our kids have to become learners throughout their life. Maybe they learn one skill, use that skill for a particular kind of job, move on to another work where they learn another skill. And this one particular aspect has been mentioned in the NEP document, which is a kind of, what shall I say, kind of an acceptance that we have to produce the kids for a future which will be more dynamic. So this is one thing that I want to mention is actually positive in the document, and let's see how we can implement it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to add, I just want to take on from there actually. So I feel that there has to be a paradigm shift in the mindset of not just the parents, but the teachers, parents, and the policy makers. Because as Manoj rightly put, we are working in a dynamic environment, and we also have to figure out, like in case of India, we have to look at being self-sufficient. So when they're talking about a lot of changes, talks about building self-sufficient systems by bringing in members from the community. Now maybe this is something that will work for certain regions in the country. Having said that, they're also introducing coding from 6th standard onwards. So they're also acknowledging the fact that there'll be one section of the students who will eventually move to maybe the urban areas or even go abroad, right? Now, this is what they have identified, okay? In my experience, I think students are well exposed to the dynamic nature of what's happening across the globe thanks to internet. They might not be aware of the employability, they might not be aware of what's lucrative as a profession, but in terms of skills, okay, they have multiple avenues where they can be picking up skills, okay. And we must acknowledge that as parents, number one, and we must to some extent get our children also to contribute to this entire process of designing their future, right? So the fact that things are dynamic, it's changing. Now, coming to teachers again, to integrate this particular, whatever has been mentioned in the policy, there has to be a shift in mindset. The way we teach, okay, moving from teaching to facilitating, upgrading your own self. Manoj spoke about continuous assessment. Okay, are we teachers having continuous assessment? That's a question, right? Are these policy makers reviewing the policies? How often is that happening? Okay, let's say it will eventually trickle down from that, right? So they have mentioned continuous professional development in the document, right? Now all of this is mentioned. Okay, let's say we are game for this, like Ms. Neeta said that, okay, we want to do it. The bigger question is, how much are we spending on this? That's the bigger question, right? So that also needs to be addressed. Yeah. So at multiple levels there are advantages, okay, at the macro level and at the operational level, and let's assume that teachers are willing to go through this entire change and want to learn. What are we doing with teacher training? Yeah, I have done my teacher training from a local college in Mumbai, and there was a point where I was disappointed. I'm sorry to say, but then I felt that this is the maximum they will allow me to learn, right? So if you are talking about lifelong learners and teachers who have to be lifelong learners to implement these, suggestions, are we stifling by setting a limit to how much can we be learning? Now these are the big questions I think even the policy makers should think about.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
when Eric says that it's a cut, copy, paste, I mean, you have to have integration. I think in terms of it's not done in isolation. Okay, the policy, these changes are not done in isolation. I agree to that, but it's more from a socio-economic point of view. It works, yeah. But within the education system, is there alignment, and then are we tying this up to employability, the skill sets required? Now these are things that we will come to know only when it's implemented, and every state, every region might have to use their own strategies and mechanisms to come up with these systems. Yeah.
Thank you, Dada. I'm going to quickly take some questions on board because this is a topic which is, even if we speak for 2 hours, 3 hours today, we're not going to even touch the surface of it. And since we've got people, yes, madam, आप बताइए.
just wanted to say कि ये जो पॉलिसी है एक्चुअली गवर्नमेंट इज watching all the that policy thing जो भी है वो इम्प्लीमेंट स्टार्ट कर दिया है लाइक सीसी मतलब कंटिन्यूस इवोल्यूशन एंड ऑल दैट. ऐसा नहीं है कि टीचर को पता नहीं है कैसे सिखाने का, बट द पॉइंट मतलब ये जो एरिया, ये जो टाइम है, ये टाइम पे सब टीचर्स बच्चे की लेवल पे जाके सिखा रहे हैं. इसलिए द अदर थिंग मतलब नॉट टू हर्ट एनीवन बट ऑलवेज जो भी एसएससी बोर्ड है, आई हैव टू से उसको अंडर एस्टिमेट किया जा रहा है. मतलब कि द एडुकेटर्स, they are not educators, they are teachers. They tell them teachers, not they accept us as educators. हम बच्चे की लेवल पे जाके सिखा रहे हैं, इसलिए द अदर्स हु आर कमिंग फ्रॉम द अदर बैकग्राउंड मीन्स जो हायर लेवल अचीवमेंट जिन्होंने किया है, वो जब भी ट्रेनिंग वगैरह के लिए आते हैं तो उनको लगता है कि ये टीचर्स को कुछ आता नहीं है, या फिर ये बच्चे लोग को ये लेवल पे सिखाएंगे तो बच्चा कैसे आगे का लेवल सीखेगा. मीन्स दैट इज सम प्रिजुडाइस हो गया है, लेकिन दैट इज इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. एसएससी बोर्ड इज व्हाट डूइंग, हम लोग बच्चे की लेवल पे जाके सिखा रहे हैं। और ये जो पॉलिसी है, ये पॉलिसी में क्या है, बच्चे को जो चाइल्ड अर्ली चाइल्डहुड मीन्स ईसीसी लेवल जो है, तभी से बच्चे में चेंज आना चालू करेंगे। मतलब जो भी टीचर्स है, वो टीचर्स के लिए जो भी एलिजिबिलिटी है, दैट आल्सो दे हैव मेंशन दैट। मीन्स ये पॉलिसी का सिस्टम भी उन लोगों ने 20 साल का रखा है। 10 साल के बाद वो पूरा इम्प्लीमेंटेशन होगा, 20 साल के बाद रिजल्ट दिखेगा। तो हमारे पास 20 साल तक है, तब तक तो हम रिटायर भी हो जाएंगे।
Absolutely.
सो अभी तक हमने जो सीखा है वो बच्चे की लेवल पे जाके सिखाने के लिए हम लोगों ने सीखा है। सो इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट कि टीचर्स आर नॉट कंटेंटेड। टीचर्स के पास भी नॉलेज है, टीचर्स दे कैन टीच व्हाट आवर स्टूडेंट कैन अंडरस्टैंड। मीन्स आपका जो फैमिली का जो बैकग्राउंड रहेगा, तो बच्चा तो वो आप उन पे ही है, आप अपने बच्चे पे ही है कि ये इसको क्या लेना है, क्या पढ़ रहा है। our student are coming from economically and socially lower background, so हम ही उनके पेरेंट्स है, हम ही उनके गाइड है, हम ही उनके टीचर्स। that's why we are going to their level and we are now trying to go upper level to bring our child to that global stage. That's why we are optimistic for this one. And as said earlier कि बहुत कॉपी पेस्ट है, and that is हमें भी पता चलता है कि ये जब भी टेक्निकली इश्यू आएगा तो क्या होएगा, क्योंकि दैट नो बैग डे एंड दैट स्किल्ड पर्सन से उन लोगों के पास ट्रेनिंग लिया है, ये सब हो रहा है, रेगुलर एजुकेशन सिस्टम में हो रहा है। आपको भी पता रहेगा कि जो एसएससी बोर्ड में बच्चा पढ़ रहा है, वो एवरी डे कुछ नया ना नया लेके आता है। पेरेंट्स भी बोलते हैं कि ये क्या हो रहा है, लेकिन व्हाट गवर्नमेंट इज जस्ट practicing, experimenting. So yeah, that's why we are optimistic, nothing more like that. Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you, Rita ma'am. Yes, and that's the aspect of it. You know, we need to bring out the facts of it, and the idea is we're a democracy. हमारे ओपिनियन हम लोग शायद कुछ कर नहीं पाए, हम लोग सिस्टम के अंदर जाके चेंज नहीं कर पाए, लेकिन हमारा हक बनता है कि यू नो we can at least express ourselves. That's important. बहुत सारे questions हैं और हमारे पास सिर्फ अभी 15 मिनट कुछ बाकी है. So I would like to throw the questions on board because people are patiently waiting. So I'm going to take a question very quickly and requesting you all to quickly pass the question round. Okay. Question from Deepthi Dixit: How mother tongue education is possible? Because ये जो मुद्दा उठा हुआ है कि बच्चों को पहले अपनी मातृभाषा में सिखाएंगे, फिर उसके बाद 5 साल के बाद अलग लैंग्वेजेस लेके आएंगे, ये एग्जैक्टली मेरा तो जो समझ में है, आई वाज लाइक children learn from a very small age languages, and for them learning multiple languages is the easiest thing. That's the best time. So why do you keep them holding them back? Why this kind of a change? I would rather say let them learn 5 languages. Let them, because that is the best time. So इसके बारे में आप please, राधा आप शुरू करो फिर.
All right. So I totally agree with you that when children are younger, they have the capacity to learn multiple languages, right? And they can't really make this a mandate. Okay, I would also talk about English, the importance of English as a language, right? So I have seen a lot of students, teachers, a lot of individuals, regardless of whichever profession that they are in. Okay, what one thing that they really struggle with is not having the confidence because they do not have the language skills, right? And especially a lot of workplaces require English as a language, and even in higher education, in colleges, English is still the language that is used, and also internet. Okay, I wanted to talk about internet being such a powerful tool in learning, whether it is for teachers or students. They have mentioned about, using technology for at different levels to, implement this program, right? So I think even as of today, without any NEP, okay, even as of today, we do have internet as a very, very powerful tool and a resource. Now, again, internet, I know that, there it is, a part of it is available in other languages, but still a lot of it is in English. A lot of literature there is in English. So in that case, if this becomes a mandate, then I think there is going to be some objection to it. We really can't. Having said that, what I believe is they're also trying to promote the local flavors, because our country is different. We cannot be just picking up from other countries, because demographically we are different. We are a diverse society. So this language, mother tongue, and the regional language, it must be promoted, right? But then definitely making it a medium of instruction is not a very good idea, according to my understanding, my opinion. Yeah.
Thanks, Radha. I will, since I have many questions, I will try to roll the questions across each person, because the audience will also not be disappointed. Let me quickly scroll up. Okay. Okay. I have a question for Nita ma'am. ये जो मैं आपको डाल रही हूँ screen पे. A question from Kajal Sippi. What about kids in the villages, kids who do not have facilities at home? ये बच्चों का आपको क्या दिखता है? How do you think it's going to happen? आप कुछ ख्यालात?
गवर्नमेंट में ये जो पॉलिसी में है, ये बियॉन्ड दैट अभी भी that Gujarat state and other interior areas of Maharashtra, they are giving them tablets with data feeded all the syllabus. So बच्चे लोग को गवर्नमेंट भी प्रोवाइड कर रही है. So it's not like that कि they are वो हमारे जो मेन स्ट्रीम है उससे अलग है, मतलब अलग हो गए हैं. Government is also giving them opportunity, and we are also getting that circulars like कि अगर बच्चा नेट कनेक्शन नहीं है, मोबाइल नहीं है, तो वी आर ऑल्सो दैट डूइंग मोहिम्स लाइक आपके पास फ्री मोबाइल रहेगा तो बच्चे तक पहुंचाओ. एंड गवर्नमेंट इवन इट मीन्स फर्स्ट थिंग गवर्नमेंट गिविंग tablets to students so that they can use that, and if there is any problem there, matlab in rains and other times they can't go to school or something like that, they can study at home also, because they don't need that net connection or like that. It is already data is already updated in that area. So means all the aspects there, all the aspects that the government is thinking. It's not like that कि दे दिया है सेंटेंस कि सब पढ़ेंगे नेट वाइज इंटरनेट से बच्चे. That's it.
Manoj, I'm putting the next question for you. Okay. From Piyush Thakare. As there was no detention policy till class 8 in SSC board, keeping in mind the child psychology, now conducting board examinations again, how is this going to affect the children?
Well, as far as examination is concerned, I'm really concerned about the way we are planning to do things. Okay. Now, earlier, what happened was that, if you have no retention policy, that kind of gave a cushion to the kids, and that in a sense gave more stress when they appeared for class 10th and all. Okay, now I think the idea is that if you have a board exam in class 8, then a board exam in class 10th, then board exam in class 12th, then maybe you have a kind of a experience. Because I remember when I was a kid, my cousins in Uttar Pradesh, UP, they had, I think, board exams. Even and previous generation in class 8, UP students, they had board exams. Okay, then they discontinued with the idea simply because it was not financially feasible, okay, economically not feasible, and that is why they discontinued the idea. Okay, especially after the last education policy, which was implemented in 84 or 86, around that period. Okay, before that, there were state boards which had this kind of concept. So, introducing a board exam in class 8, I feel is, okay, I mean, it's not a very big deal, but my purpose, my contention is that what is the purpose of the examination? Okay, if the examination is just for a person who is going to remain in the same school and continue in the same next class, it is okay. But if the examination continues to determine the future, then nothing has changed. Is the IIT JEE examination going to change? The entrance exam after class 12, are they going to change? Is your class 11th admission process going to depend on class 10th board exam? If not, then what are the criteria that are going to be used for admission process? Because it is that process which causes the stress, which causes the inequity in the society. Now, my bone of contention with this document is that there are lots of contradictions in this document. We are talking about reducing the stress of the examination, but we are not talking about the admission process at all. We are not talking about ways to eliminate the coaching classes syndrome. Okay, there is no direct way we can deal with that. And we are not talking about how to empower the teacher. We are talking about that, that there should be localized education. At the same time, we are centralizing the whole process. People are talking that, we should have carpentry and music introduced from class 6, which is a very good idea. We need to have those skills. Exemplary, and the document says that people from the local area will be employed. At the same time, they're talking about having a centralized mode of teacher training, teacher employment. Now, having one body taking care of the whole country's teacher employment and teacher training and setting standards, and yet taking care of the local flavors and the localizations, that is actually, you are creating a conflict out there. And there is a lot of scope of misinterpreting the document out there. So there, I am not sure how we are going to deal with it, because we have seen it is that whenever there is too much of centralization, that actually leads to very negative results. People at the ground level need to be empowered.
Yeah.
If we have too much centralized power, then that empowerment is going to reduce, and that creates a lot of problem and dissatisfaction among the people who are working at the ground level. So that is where my bone of contention is, that we have to make it a decentralized system and not emphasis on the centralized power. Okay, there I have my doubts what we are going to achieve. Let's see what we can do about it.
I agree with you, Manoj, because what you're saying in terms of application, it becomes very difficult otherwise. And there are so many issues. I have so many comments coming, at the side out here, and I can already see contradicting views. And we have to really try to basically understand each other. What I'm requesting the three of you all is, when you will have the time, maybe if you all can, later on, try to address these comments, because you are coming from various backgrounds, various understandings. And if you all could perhaps respond to these comments later. I'm taking a question for Radha on the screen. Radha, a question from Anju Desai, and she's like, will the CBSE, will these boards integrate? I also had the question on top. What do you think? Do you think these things are going to happen? What is your feeling? I know you don't have the answer, yeah, but we're asking about what is your.
No, see, when we talk about integration, okay, I would rather focus on the learning outcomes. I would rather focus on the long-term objectives, regardless of whichever board it is. Okay, so the objectives, what kind of individuals are we trying to create when they are 16, 17-year old? And then where are these individuals going to be, fitting in themselves? Whether it is higher education, like college education in India, again, is it the IITs or the private institutions? Are they going to go abroad? Are they going to start, they could be an entrepreneur in their own regional space, in their own community. They could be coming up with something. Yeah. So when we talk about integration of boards, it is not integration of boards that we need. What we need is uniformity in the learning outcomes, uniformity in skill building, uniformity in the core competencies, in the syllabus that is taught. That is what is required. So and that is what I said right at the beginning, that to some extent it is showing in this. Okay, and if our teachers are not just teachers, even someone like Neeta ma'am, supervisors, the leadership team in schools, okay, these people also need training, because that is where it trickles down. It trickles down. You need trainers, you need mentors, you need people who have been in other systems. So bring in those people and train the leadership community in the education space. Then it will come down to teachers and take continuous PDs very seriously. That is what will improve the standard of education, and the disparity that we see between an SSC, CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and IB. It's the quality, right? So that has to be made uniform. So it's not the boards integrating. It is about what your curricular objectives are, and how are you empowering your teachers and schools to deliver that. Then it will automatically come to the students. That's what I would have to say.
Thank you, Radha. That was beautiful. I just want to say that we started off with this, education policy, and we are so deep into these topics because we are so deeply involved in this aspects of it. We are almost 9 in the evening, and we still really haven't really touched the main points, because each of you will have so much to talk about, and there's so much of uh, नोक झोंक होगा, बहुत सारे points निकलेंगे. But to the people that who are watching, and the people on the panel, they already know this. But to people who are watching as parents, what I'd like to say is also as a parent to the other parents, wait, this policy is just an announcement right now. Like these people said, it's on paper. It's a lot. It is a very broad outline. The policy makers need to think about it. बहुत कुछ सोचना है. आइडिया बहुत अच्छा है. It's a utopian vision. 2035 तक उनका प्लानिंग चल रहा है. और whenever you try to make something, अगर आप एक आप एक कुछ सिलाओगे भी, तो आपको पहले ड्राइंग करना पड़ेगा, आपको आइडिया. तो ये सिर्फ आइडिया है, बहुत टाइम लगेगा. Don't worry about your children, especially parents who are having chote children. Please don't worry. It will take at least 5 years, I personally believe, for this, to actually start to hit. It's a huge amount of work. Yes, Radha.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to cut you in, Glancy. Okay, I have worked and researched a lot about parental anxiety. Okay, and how parental anxiety has to do with students' anxiety, right? Only in the education space. So I feel the first and foremost thing that as parents, what we have to do is to educate ourselves, okay, and be very confident about what our children are undergoing right now, and why aren't we a part of that process? Why aren't parents completely relying on the education system, okay, to think about whether this child is going to make money in the future or not? It's not like that. Let's not narrow it down. Let's not narrow down education to
Yeah.
just having some degrees and certificates and showing it and finding a job. It is not that way. There are organizations who are not asking for degree, but if you have the skills, okay, you are getting jobs. So sincerely, for parents, please become a part of the process. Please become a part of the education process. Your child will be way more confident. You will be getting rid of the anxiety, and this whole any change like this, anything that comes up, it will be easier. Like, you can relax and you can sail through it. So that's my advice to parents. Just relax and become a part of it, instead of suddenly, waking up to the fact that कल एग्जाम है. Yeah.
ठीक है मैम, आप बताइए. अनमोल, हाँ.
Same, I want to say कि just go with the flow. 20 साल का टाइम दिया है. आपके बच्चे छोटे हैं तो भी 20 साल तक तो जस्ट वेट एंड वॉच, क्योंकि फ्रेमवर्क दिखता है, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन दिखता है, लेकिन टेक्निकल इश्यूज आएंगे, उसको रिजॉल्व करना पड़ेगा, उसको ओवरकम करना पड़ेगा. देन एट दैट टाइम पेरेंट्स आर नीडेड टू बी विथ देयर किड्स ओनली, बिकॉज टीचर्स तो सिर्फ 5 घंटे बच्चे के साथ रहेंगे. Then parents are only there to handle them, to support them.
Thank you, thank you.
That's it.
And I'm just
Thank
going to
you.
add my 2 penny bits. See, डिग्रीज जो है, अभी आप जो पैनलिस्ट आप देखोगे ना, अगर इन लोगों के अगर मैंने डिग्रीज काउंट किया तो 50 से ज्यादा डिग्रीज है ये पैनल के पास. मैं अपने बारे में बात नहीं कर रही हूँ. और डिग्रीज जो है आदमी को नहीं बनाता है. लाइफ लेसन, हमारा जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम, जो भी लर्निंग सिस्टम है, the person has to get a few ideas in their life, a few good ideas which can make them a good human being, able to earn their money and have a sustainable lifestyle. वो चाहिए. So that's important. Manoj, last few words I want to say to you. Please share some of your insights.
Oh, well, I think just continuing from what was said before, I'll just say that yes, as parents, we have to be very careful about the value system that we inculcate in ourselves, because that gets transferred to the kids and that sets their goals. Okay, so we have to be very careful about what we want ourselves to be and our kids to be. Of course, we need money. A minimum threshold of money is needed. But at the same time, there are other aspects of being a good human being which we should not forget. And rather, we need to project those aspects. And that is why we should, there's something that is missing in our education, is that we do not inculcate the value system that much. It comes, we just, sort of gather it from the road that we take in our lives. It is never, we are never consciously thinking about it. But that is something as parents we should do, and we should transfer it to our kids, how to be a better human being than what we have been, frankly speaking. That is the only way we can move ahead in civilization. That is what I always try to convey to my students, my kids, कि हमने जो सीखा था, हम जो करते हैं, वो एक लेवल पे सीखा, तो उसके बाद ठीक है, एक लेवल पे आके हमने सीखा, लेकिन तुम लोग वही चीज अभी सीख रहे हो. Okay, so it is your duty to be, grateful to our forefathers who worked hard to reach the level that we have reached. Inculcate the value system कि क्या अच्छा है, क्या बुरा है. हर किसी में कुछ अच्छा होता है, कुछ बुरा होता है. We should be accepting of the other person कि हाँ, इसमें ये अच्छा है, वो बुरा है, ठीक है भैया, थोड़ा एडजस्ट कर लो. I will, but at the same time, give space for everyone to exist as a human being. And if we give space to the other person will also give respect and space to us. We are actually moving in a rat race right now. Everybody is running hard without concern. जैसे local train में होता है, we try to get in, pushing others. We have to change that attitude, that outlook, and that system. It is not the people's fault. The system is like that कि 10 ट्रेन छोड़ नहीं सकते हम तो हमें धक्का देके घुसना पड़ता है. But somehow we have to inculcate the values कि we have to respect the other person. We try not to push the other person, and if all of us can do it, then we'll be a better society. And learn from Japan. I've been to Japan, and believe me, their crowd in the local train is as bad as ours, but they don't push each other. But we tend to push each other. We have to inculcate some values, and if we inculcate that, then I'm sure our kids will lead I'll say a fulfilling life. I don't use the word successful because success is a very
That's it,
material
yeah.
word.
Absolutely.
A fulfilling life, and that is what we should aim for ourselves and transfer it to our kids, whatever the education policy may be.
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you, Neeta ma'am. Thank you, Radha. And we will end on a positive note. A lot of changes are happening. We will be continually on Step Up and the Alu Connect page. We will be having panelists coming in, people who are giving us their valuable time to come onto our page. Please do like, subscribe our FB pages. Do share this video with your colleagues. We will be having forthcoming sessions like we mentioned in the start, and just keep in touch with us. Don't stress it out. We're going to break down this policy, piece by piece as it comes by. We've got the experts on board, and we've got human beings as parents, as teachers. So we will have differences. Thank you so much, Radha, Manoj, Neeta ma'am, for spending your valuable time, technically coming into the studio and then preparing. And of course, we've not even looked at any of the slides, 54 slides of the document, but we just wanted to give an introduction. Thank you very much. Good night, Shubhratri, and I'll see you all in the next session. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.